pretty obvious that technology and attitudes are drastically different than they were decades ago. Over the past couple of weeks, we've shown you that in a series called The Generation of Change.
Matt Behrens spoke with people young and old about their childhoods and shows us whether or not those changes have really impacted the way kids grow up.
We have Nintendo DS's, sometimes we play on those. We have a Wii, but my brother usually plays that. I usually watch TV.
Mostly the computer. I go into addictinggames.com.
And that's just a small sampling of the things that kids today have at their disposal. But for people growing up 70 years ago, childhood was a little different.
There wasn't television, obviously. Radio was there, but you're not appreciative of radio at 8, 9, 10 years old. Certainly not computers, the old typewriters. But I wasn't into that.
And outside of his own childhood experience, there was a lot of change going on in the world as well. And Mark Zelich says he was vaguely aware of it at the time.
I was really a product of the Depression. It was just coming out of that barely. The world was changing. Adolf Hitler was on the rise in Germany. Things were happening, but we were either unaware of it or didn't care.
But Zelich wasn't the only child to be absorbed in his own world. As I found out, kids today are remarkably similar in that regard.
There's a lot of politics talk today. There's a lot about financial stuff and all that weird stuff. I'm just going to put that away. Okay.
I know that the war is going on and everything, but I just don't really pay much attention to it because, I have all my family and everything. I worry about them.
But despite the vast differences between generations, that's not the only similarity. For example, kids in the 30s and kids today have a deep interest in their friends.
What you were was into the kids in your neighborhood and the kids that you had in grade school. And for me, that meant I played a lot of basketball.
Normally build forts in our basement. And sometimes my brothers come down and we play like war.
Well, they have a lot more options than kids of the 30s did, or even I did when growing up. Nick and Katie tell me they still prefer playing outside.
We have a tetherball on our basketball hoop, so we play that a lot. We play fetch with our dog because she's always wanting to go outside. We have a swing set, we go on that. We play basketball, that's usually what we do.
And both Nick and Katie say they would have no problem living without all of today's advanced toys.
Yeah, actually I could.
Yeah, I probably could because I won't be bored because I wouldn't have known that we would have TV and a computer and everything. So I probably would have been okay because then I would have had this stuff back then to do.
I think I'd be okay because I would still have friends to play with outside. There would still be trees to climb. There'd be a bunch of stuff to do.
And even though the toys and experiences are different, everyone I spoke to agrees on one thing: the kids are still the same.
I think so. Sure they are. Kids are kids. As you're young, you like to play.
They still do play outside, read books, play with everybody else. I would think that they're still the same.
I honestly don't think much has changed besides computers and TV and technology. Not much has really changed.
But now they have all the benefits of modern education and technology. And they have to have that in order to make the progress that we need in this country and in this world.
Matt Behrens, News Channel 7.
And if one of those faces look familiar to you, look familiar to some of you longtime News Channel 7 viewers, people still stumble on TV like they used to 50 years ago.
Yeah,
it was Mark Zelich, our favorite news and sports director, always, who is just so full of wisdom. It is unbelievable.
He sure is. Meanwhile, be sure to tune in next Friday for the final part of Matt's series, where we look at all the recent changes we've seen and how our generation will be seen by those in the future.
What's ours going to be remembered for, the 80s?
I don't know. You'll have to tune in next Friday to find out.
Oh, yeah, good.
Probably the fashion.
It was the best fashion there ever was.
Yeah, that's what we think anyway.